everyone. Come on in. How are you doing? How are you doing? I'm Julie with Nothing is Wasted Designs, and I'm on a few minutes early. I'm going to be going live in, let me think of the name, without looking. Let's see if I can do it without looking. Hen House and Bloom Company. So an easier name for me to remember. Hey Karen, how you doing? I like the name. It's an easy one to remember. It's not a tongue twister. So y'all come on in. We're waiting for Corey to finish up. She's doing another one of her amazing paintings, and I love that little boy. Don't y'all just love that little boy? Of course, I have two boys, so I'm partial to little boys. She's holding it up. It is adorable. If you have not been watching the event that I'm in today with Hen House and Bloom Company, you're going to want to go back and see what all the different creators have done. The theme today is, thank you for sharing me into the group. The theme today is April Showers Brings May Flowers. And y'all, I have been all over the place with what I was going to do. Then I changed my mind, and I think every crafter does this. So anyway, long story short, I am going to be, I thought about umbrellas. I was going to do a paper craft, like an origami umbrella, and then I changed my mind and I thought, well, probably a lot of people are going to be doing umbrellas. Maybe I'll do boots, puddle jumpers. So I went online, and my promise to myself this year is to work through my stash. And so far, I'm doing pretty good. Hey, Mary, good to see you. Come on in. Anyway, so I just had so many different things, and I went to order something, it's like, you know what? I got a whole house full of stuff in my house. I do not need to order one more thing. So the Holy Spirit reminded me that I had this. This is a Hobby Lobby wood form. I don't know what you call them. And anyway, I thought, I'm going to go for this. I'm going to give it a try and see how it does. Hey, Emily. You're going to want to stay after me. You're going to want to refresh your page and go to Emily's Upcycled Home, because she is going to be following me today at, I believe, 5. Yep, 5 o'clock. So Emily's in the house here. You're going to want to see what she has to bring and the talent that she has. So, and then again, like I said, if you've missed any of the creators today, you're going to definitely want to go to Hen House and Bloom Company, CO, abbreviated CO. And you can just go down, once you're in the group, once you start you join the group, you can just go right down the line and see all of the presenters and what everybody has made. I want to thank Ollie and Karen for having me today. I just love the talent in this group. A lot of talent, y'all. A lot of talent. So if you will share me out so that we can get some people in here, that would be wonderful. I appreciate y'all. And I'm going to start with, I think I'm going to resin this once it's done. And so and then of course I painted too, so there's paint on the back. I actually started putting some tape on the back of this in the event that I do resin it, because I'm thinking about putting some glass on here, but I won't be able to keep the glass on there until I have thank you for sprinkling me out there. I appreciate it. Hey, Janet. Good to see you. Come on in. Come on in. Hey, Kelly. Appreciate you being here. Renee. Thank you for being here. I appreciate you. And let's see. Joyce. Hey, Joyce. Let's see who else is here. Mary is here. Hey, Mary. Loved what you did with the umbrella. What I need to do is I need to save your piece, because I want to like use that as a guide for me to maybe paint an umbrella myself offline. not online, but offline. All right, so let me give you an idea of what's going on here. All right, I've got paint on the back of this because I painted the back first. I have found that if I paint the back after I have finished the project, I almost always stick my project in something because this part is finished and I put it in paint or something that's left on my glass mat or something. And so and you can see when I went to paint the front of this, I got the back, I got paint on it. So that's just how I work. But this is the back, and it's already almost all taped off. I'm going to show y'all what I'm doing here. In the event, which is very likely, that I end up resining this, I am going, you need to tape off the back so that the resin doesn't pool. I'm not going to have time to resin it today, but anyway, sometimes the resin will fall over your project, and if you have tape there and it drips, and if you have tape there, then you can pull the tape off, and then you don't have to worry about sanding it down. If you don't have tape, it's a mess. So it's a good habit to get into, tape in the back if you're going to resin. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm just taking some painter's tape. And I actually learned something different today, and I'm going to share that with you. So I taped everything but this one section right here. And you can see that there are curved sections. And if you have a curved section, a lot of times what I'll do is I'll just do a lot of small pieces and just kind of stack them on top of it themselves. But I've also done embroidery, and I don't know why I didn't think about this until today, but it's kind of like, what is the saying? Oh shoot, I can't think of it. That, I just went blank. Hold on a minute. I'll get it. Necessity is the mother of invention is what I'm trying to say. Necessity is the mother of invention. So when you have something that you need to figure out, or you need a solution for, that's when I think we get the most creative. And anyway, so that is the case here. I was going and tearing all these little pieces, and I thought there has got to be a better way. Well, since I have done embroidery, I know that you can trim around things real easily. So I thought, well, let me try this and see what happens. So if you have a straight edge, you can just take your straight edge, line it up against your edge. And I like to use the edge of the tape because when you use the edge of the tape, it's already straight. You don't have to worry about cutting a straight line and all of that. All right, and so I'm going to come over here, and I am going to just take this edge and put it up against the edge of my project. And I'm only going to do a few of these. And I'm going to show you how I do the curves. Okay, I'm going to cut this. And this is the edge that's straight. So I'm going to come in here, and I'm going to just take, remember the tighter the circle, the more you're going to, the smaller the piece that you're going to put along that edge. So I'm going to show you what I've done. All I've done is I've taken this edge and put it up against the edge of this. And then I'm going to work my way around kind of like a fan. And I intentionally left just a few places for y'all to see. And that's going to be too big. Now, the other thing that I figured out, and okay, so what I've done is I've taken another piece and just married it up to that, and I could go all the way around here. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in here where the curve stops and the next place starts, because this is where I'm going to try and show you what I figured out. And it has just made, because like I've done coasters where, you know, I've taped the back of coasters because they're, you know, round coasters. And I'm going to come in here and come up against that. And if it's a nice long straight piece, then you're good to go. All right, so like I'm just going to take that, butt it up against there, clip this off. Takes a little bit of time, but I'm telling you, if you've never done resin before, it takes less time to tape than it does to clean it up afterwards if your piece ends up having a the resin run over top of it. All right, so I'm going to just kind of go along this edge here, putting the straight edge up against the straight edge of the piece. And then when I get to this curve over here, I'm going to show you, I'm going to try and do something a little bit differently for y'all. I just thought that, you know, this might help someone who does resin. All right, I'm going to put that right up against the edge. And just kind of, this is like a small spot. So, all right, so let me show you what the other thing is that you can do. So the other thing you can do is you can take, if you have like, see how you've got a, like a large part of this that's sticking out. You can take your scissors, see if I can get this online for you. You can take your scissors and from the top side, go right up against that edge and clip it off, okay? Same thing I'm gonna do over here. I'm gonna go from the top, make sure that this is nice and sealed. Actually, I need to go from this direction. I'm going to go right up against this edge. That one didn't cut as clean. I really need to go from this direction. And you want to just clip that as close to that edge as you can get, and you can see that you've got a nice clean edge there. All right, so I'm going to try and see if I'm going to be able to get to the round portion of this. Now, the round portion of this, you see how it comes out and it goes deep in here? You're going to need either an X-Acto knife or a really small pair of scissors to get into this little crevice right here. So since I don't have that, what I'm going to do is I am going to take and I'm going to cut a really, really narrow piece, very, very narrow piece. I'll take that edge there, and I'm going to just bring this out to the to this outside piece, and then I will just cut that outside piece. We'll see if we'll be able to get around that. But let's see. Oops, my comments. Oops. Hey, Corey, great job. Love that little guy that is jumping in the puddle. Hey, Sherry. I just realized my, hey, Lindell, thanks for sprinkling. All right, so I'm going to take another small piece, and I'm going to take this flat edge, and I'm going to put it up to where the curve is. And I knew that this was going to take some time, so I intentionally, all right, this is kind of hanging over. I'm going to come from the back side and just clean that up a little bit. Because remember, the whole purpose of taping the back of this is that when we resin it, if the resin overflows onto the side, then you're going to have a mess to clean up. All right, so this isn't, I don't think this curve I'm going to have to do this in individual pieces. So whenever you have a curve, if it's a tight curve like this, you're going to have to put smaller pieces, especially if you can't get a pair of scissors in there to trim it. But if you can get a pair of scissors in there, then you can just take your scissors and trim it from, you know, either the back side or the front side. And now what we have is we've got this whole thing is now finished and ready to resin. I'm really thinking I'm going to resin this because I want to put some glass on this. And then I've got some tape that's overhanging here. Now, you don't want the tape. All right, let me show y'all while I'm telling you. What you don't want to happen is you don't want the tape to extend past your project, because if we were resining this and the resin overflows, then what happens is the resin is going to get trapped between the tape and the bottom of this, and then you got another mess. So you want to make sure that whenever you are taping, and see, even that little bit there that's hanging over, you don't want that. You don't want that. So you want to cut it exactly beyond where the project is, and then that way you won't have pooling and puddling and resin gluing the tape to your project. Does that make sense? Hope that makes sense. Y'all come on in. Let's see what we got. Hey, Ruby, thank you for sprinkling. I appreciate that. I want to remind y'all that Emily's Upcycle Home is going to be after me. You're going to want to hang out and watch her. Hey, Ocean Breeze and me. I appreciate you being here. Tamara. Is it Tamara or Tamara? Tamara or Tamara. I taught school, so I'm used to seeing a lot of different names. I also did retail. All right, so I'm going to put my tape away. Let me put this away. And I'm going to put my scissors back. And we're going to go in here. Now, I have a question for y'all. I'm thinking yellow boots. I'm thinking yellow rain boots was what comes across. And I'm also thinking polka dots. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with the rain boots, and then we're going to go into, all right, let's see what we got here. Which brush do I want to use? Let's see if I have... All right, one of the things that I like to do, I'm new to painting, and one of the things that I like to do is I like to get my muscle memory going. And if there is, all right, let's see what this brush here is going to do. These are new brushes, y'all. And now is a good time to use them. So let's see what we got. All right, so what I do is I like to go in here and just go along the edge and see how the brush is going to perform for me and see if I like what it's going to do. Okay? I'm new, so that just kind of works for me. All right, this one's a little bit smaller, so I may end up using this one because I want to be able to get into these crevices, and I may have to go in here with a smaller brush. All right, I think I like this one here, because I like the control that I have. So let's try that. I also have a round brush. This is just a round brush. I may end up coming in here and going in between the flowers with that, maybe a smaller one. And I've just found that if I do that, I call it a muscle memory technique. If I do that muscle memory technique before I start painting, then I have better luck with what I'm doing. Let me point y'all down. I've got all kinds of glass and paint and everything all around here. All right, let me see. That's got maybe this one. All right, we're going to have a variety of things. I'm going to see what's going to happen. All right, so I'm going to go in here. I'm going to use kind of a few different colors of yellows. and have no idea how this is going to go because I have never done one of these Hobby Lobby paint your own. They put the lines out and stuff like that. So we'll see. I like this saffron. I like this saffron color. This is a saffron yellow because it looks like it's going to match the yellow glass that I have. This is the yellow glass that I have. And this is about the closest to the color that I have. So I'm looking at that on my screen, and we're going to see where we go with this. And so I don't know if I'm going to get this finished or not, but we're going to give it our best shot and see where we go. So let me get the saffron out. I'm working with acrylic paint. This is Deco Art Americano, and this is a saffron yellow. And I'm thinking I'm going to come back behind and do, hold on. I may change my mind, y'all. Hang on. Let's see what this, man, that's going to be way too big. All right, that's not going to get in there. All right, let's see what we got. Let's do it, okay? I'm going to come in here. And I want to make sure that I have a good amount of paint on here. I like this color, y'all. One of the things that I have learned as a beginner is that, you know, when you're trying to go down a line, you want to make sure that you have enough paint on your brush that you get a nice, clean, crisp line, okay? I'm thinking polka dots. I'm thinking polka dots for the... All right, making sure I'm in the screen here. All right, here we go, y'all. Going around the curve. I used to have a pair of short ankle boots that had, you know, there's little black clasp on them. And I actually wore them as a fashion accessory to my clothes when I was teaching public school, because if it was on rainy days. All right, here we go. I'm just going to go along this line. I taught public school for a little over 8 years before God called me to be a stay-at-home mom. I was a math teacher. My favorite, not everybody's favorite, but my favorite math was algebra, still is. And so I loved teaching algebra. It was always fun for me. I loved the students. I taught teenagers. I taught junior high math. And so, you know, that's just kind of a testimony of, you know, you can learn anything, right? If you're right-brained or left-brained or whatever brained you are, it's just a matter of practice. I recently learned, here's a tip for y'all. Let me see how many of y'all know this. I'm going to come back and probably add some highlights to this too. Bob Ross. All right. Show me hearts if you know who Bob Ross is. I know everybody does, so I'm expecting to see some hearts. Show me some hearts if you know who Bob Ross is. Nobody knows Bob Ross? Show me some hearts if you know who Bob Ross is. Okay, here they come. Do you know, all right, let me put it this way. I'll let you guess before I tell you. Does anybody know what Bob Ross did before he was a painter? Does anybody know? I was blown away when I found this information out the other day. Tidbit of information. Let me see here. Oh boy, I got all kinds of comments. Hey, Kathy. Does anybody know what Bob Ross did? I know. Who doesn't love Bob Ross, right? Does anybody know what he did before he painted? He said a saying, something like, basically, if you want to learn something, practice it a lot. That is like, what he is a painter, but yes, Debbie Wilson, he did. He was in the military. Do you know what branch? You remember what branch? He was a mean officer, y'all. Sweet, soft-spoken Bob Ross was a mean officer. He used to yell at people who were underneath him, and he swore that when he retired out of the military, he swore that he would never raise his voice again, and he didn't. And so can anybody imagine Bob? No, it was Air Force. He was in the Air Force. Anyway, yeah, he would yell at people and tell them to clean the latrines and stuff like that. And I guess that really wasn't who he was all along, but the military made him that way. And so he ended up being soft-spoken. I wish I could remember what page I was listening to when a gal who used to work with him when he was in Alaska, a lot of his paintings were inspired by the terrain in Alaska. Now, why do I say that? Why did I bring Bob Ross up? Because I was a math teacher. Y'all, if you would have told me 35 years ago that I was going to be painting online, I would have told you that you don't have all your sources together. And so the bottom line is that anything that we want to try new or do or anything along those lines, you can do it. So if you've been, if you're secretly wanting to learn how to paint, you can paint. It's just a matter of practice. And he has a famous statement, and I can't remember. Tamara, you were the one, you had some cards that you were doing with ATC, is that what it's called? The trading cards. And one of the statements that you said in one of your lives was a Bob Ross quote. I did not know it was a quote, and I went to look it up and found out. That's how I found the information out, was from one of your lives. And I can't remember which one it was, which live you did it on. But do you remember, Tamara, do you remember that? But anyway, so you inspired me to learn something, and I looked it up, and there it was. It was all about Bob Ross, and I thought, well, who knew? My nephew, he and I are a lot alike, and I told him this information. Of course, he just loved it. He was like, I never knew that. So now you know, right? All right, here we go. I'm going to come back, and I'm going to try and do some shading on this. I'm thinking black polka dots on here. What do y'all think about black polka dots on this? Yes or no? I need to get a different brush in here. This is just not, well, maybe I can. I tend to like filbert brushes. I don't know why, but I do. And, and of course, if y'all watched Corey paint right before me, she just uses her fingers. She don't need any brushes. She just uses her fingers, and she's been painting for a while. She knows what she's doing, and it always turns out well. And, one day I'm going to be painting with my fingers, but right now I'm painting with the brush. I get my fingers all messed up, for sure. Polka dots. Yeah, I think we should go polka dots. Don't you think we should go polka dots? I think that'll be fun. I had another thought I had when I first looked at this was maybe I would do the boots in black and white checks, but I knew I wasn't going to have enough time to actually do all the checks. So I thought, well, I better go with something simple. All right, even though I didn't really have to go down that line, but it's good practice. Good practice. Now, remember, these are things that I have learned along this journey, y'all. So if you already know this, I'm not trying to insult you. I promise you. Whenever you're painting, you want to go along the lines of what you're painting. You know, if you're doing a curve, you want to go the direction of the curve, not going back and forth like that. And of course, you can still mix that up with like X's and stuff like that and blend it all together. But for the most part, you want to go the direction of what your project is. All right, so here we go. Coming on down. Well, I just had a hiccup there. I'm going to leave it. I'm not going to try and fix it because a lot of times if I try and fix it, I make it worse. So I'm going to just leave that there for now, and I'll figure out what I'm going to do in a little bit. I think I'm going to need to switch to a different brush. So if you had a pair of puddle jumpers, what color would they be? If you were going to get a new pair of puddle jumpers, what color would you get? You could have any color that you want. Would they be would they have designs on them? Would they be solid? Would they... All right, let me see if I can get this in a direction where I can get to this. I'm going to do the sole in black. All right. And I'm going to come along this flower. I'm thinking, trying to get around this. Okay, all right, so we've got the boots. I'm going to come in with a little bit darker, we're going to let this dry, and then I'm going to come back to it. All right, so I've got the majority of this in here. I'm going to just give it another coat. And then I'm going to add some highlights in here and see where we go with this. And then I want to add some darker areas for where, like on the inside of the, I think I'm going to put some gold in here, so we will see. All right, this is where it's, let's see, how are we doing on time? Oh, we're good. We're good, we're good. All right, so let me think here. I'm going to come in here with a small, put this over here. Let me come in here with the round brush right in here. So I worked with teenagers, loved working with them, had so much fun with them. All right, so let me see how I want to do this. I'm going to come in here and I'm going to go along this edge. I've told my followers before that when I left public school teaching, I had so much fun that they took bets on me with how long I would be a stay-at-home mom because they didn't think I would last. What they didn't know was that God called me to be at home. He called me to be a stay-at-home mother. And until he told me what my next position was, I stayed there. All right, so I'm going to come in here with a little bit of this gold. I just kind of wet it a little bit with the color that was in there. Do I know what I'm doing? I'm kind of winging it. I've got a piece over here that I made that I'll show y'all at the end. Just trying to make this a little bit darker because that would be on the inside of the boot, so it would most likely have a little bit of a shadow cast on it. And it'll also help us distinguish from one boot to the next. And then I'm just going to just kind of feather this out. So that it looks like there are two boots here. I've been playing with paint for a couple of years, and so this right here is just a little bit new to me. It's doing one of these forms. All right, I'm going to come over here and soften this a little bit. It's not quite so sharp. All right. Let me show you what I have so far. I'm just making it so that there's some definition between the one boot to the other. And then just kind of softening that a little bit. All right, so there is that. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in here. Okay, and I'm going to put, let me see, I'm going to get some brighter yellow. Oh, here it is. I'm going to take some of this brighter yellow. And just kind of like where this is right here, we're going to put some highlights here. I may go back and do some white, maybe. Just kind of maybe where the light would shine a little bit more. Shading is completely new to me. But we're going to give it a go and see what happens here. All right, let me look at it. And then we're going to put we're going to get some light over here too, because this is kind of like the front of where the light would be. Just going to make it so that it's a little bit more of a contrast. And so I'm going to come in here and just kind of lighten this. All right, so a little bit of light there. I'm going to add, just kind of blend this together. Okay. And then I'm going to hit this boot over here. A little bit of light. Just kind of blend it in. I think blending is probably one of my favorite things to do. All right. And then I'm going to come over and do just this boot a little bit lighter. Grab some of this that's a little bit darker. Okay, let me look at it and see. All right, so this is what we have so far. All right, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in here, and how are we doing on time? 39. Let me start with some flowers. Actually, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and grab my black paint, and I'm going to get the soles of the shoes on there. So let's put a little bit of black on here. Empty the, wash this brush out. Put a little bit of black on my palette. Now the palette that I'm using, this is like a throwaway palette. It's plastic. It's like wax paper. And, all right, let's see what we're going to do here. All right, we're going to go in here with this. And we're going to go ahead and do his shoes. I don't know if I'm going to get to the flowers or not. Now, this week I am on tomorrow at 3 o'clock with the Artist Lounge Marketplace. You can go to my page, and I'll be streamed into to that, and that's at 3 o'clock tomorrow. And then Wednesday, I'm going to be back with let me think. Hen House and Bloom Company. And that's, I believe, at 7 o'clock at night. And so if I don't finish this piece today, I'm going to finish it tomorrow because it's about blooms tomorrow, Brighton blooms tomorrow also. So I may carry this over to finish it tomorrow night. All right, here we go. So we got this part of the boot. We're going to come in here. Just coming along. I could almost use a smaller brush, but that's okay. I'm going to be fine. Remember that you want to make sure that you have enough paint on your brush that you get a nice solid line. Okay. I think I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to finish, if nothing else, I'm going to get the boots finished. All right, I'm not real fond of that brush. I'm going to move it. I'm going to try a different brush. Maybe a smaller brush. This one here. This is the one I want right here. This is kind of small. Let's see what sizes these are. That one is, let me see if I've got a smaller one. That's too big. Hang on, hang on. All right, let me try this one here. This one's smaller. All right, let's come in here, and this is better. and then I'm going to come over here and we'll do this side here. I like to be able to push the brush down and just kind of let it flow. That's what kind of helps me to keep the lines straight. We're going to come in here. And then I think we're going to put some polka dots on this next. That way we'll know what the boots are going to look like. Okay. All right, so there we go. So we've got our boots with the soles of the boots on there. And let's go ahead and I'm going to grab a pouncer. Let me make sure this is dry. I think what I want to do before I put these on here is, let me get one of these brushes out. I'm going to put a dark edge along this back here, just to give it just a little bit. I'm going to go ahead and start with some yellow that's already there. The yellow that's there. And I'm going to come in here with some of a gold color. Oops, I just got black in that. I didn't need that. Hey, Ocean Breeze and Nate, what's your name? Thanks for being here. All right, let me try that again without the black paint getting in there. All right, then I'm going to come in here with some of this gold. Just kind of like the back of the boot where there's not a whole lot of light. And then I'm going to blend it so it's not quite such of a harsh line. All right, so what do y'all think so far? Yes? Maybe put a little bit of, just a little bit of more dark right in here. Gosh, I keep hitting that black. All right. Some highlights here before I go in with the just kind of playing with it right now to see what I want to do. All right, I think I like that. Okay, so this is what we got, y'all. All right, so I'm going to dry it, and we are going to put some polka dots on here. I'll probably get to one of the flowers. I still feel like, hold on a minute, because there's this line on here. I feel like I need to do something with this because I don't like that line. I feel like I need to cover it up with some paint. So I'm gonna do a little bit more. I'm gonna go in here. Let me get my saffron. Where's my saffron? Go in here with that and the gold. I just don't like the way these boots are right in here. That's probably better. And we'll come in here. Okay. All right, so there we go. So here are our two boots. And now we're going to do the polka dots. I think that's a good size. So what do you think? Should we do like a big polka dot or the back of a... I think I want big polka dots, y'all. I want big polka dots. Go big or go home, right? All right, here's our black. And let's see what's going to happen here. All right, so here we go. Get some more black. All right, and then we're going to come over here. All right, so here we've got our polka dots. Kind of fun. And I think I'm going to put, all right, let me do this. Put a piece of tape here so it doesn't go off the edge, and I'll put one right in there, and then I'll lift it up. So it looks like it's right on the edge. All right, so here we've got our boots, and now we're going to, I'm going to put this in my water. And before I stick my project in this, I'm going to tear this off, and we're going to go in and we're going to start with some of the flowers. I still feel like I need to do something in this line between the two boots. Corey, Mary, I'm open for suggestions. Anybody else? I'm open for suggestions. All right, I'm going to go in here and I'm going to do this pink flower first. I'm going to turn this around. And I am going to use a light pink to start with. This is going to be kind of like a, what's it called? Stargazer lily is going to be what I'm thinking. All right, so let me get my brush. I'm going to use a round brush, I think. And I'm going to start with this pink. Looks like it's going to need several coats. And we're going to just go in here. Like I said, what I don't get finished tonight, I will end up finishing tomorrow at 3 o'clock. All right, here we go. You can tell I'm concentrating. I'm normally talking, but trying to figure out the best way to... There's a star in the middle of this, and I'm trying not to... We're going to come in here, and we're going to do... You know how a stargazer has a... down the middle. Has like it's like a little bit darker. There you go. Oh my gosh, it's 4:55. All right, well, it looks like this flower is gonna be the last one that I'm gonna be able to get to. But I want y'all to make sure that you refresh your page and watch, let me dry this off. Watch Emily's, hold on, Emily's Upcycle Home. And one dot, I mean, you can make one for a ladybug. Oh, what did I miss? Thanks, Emily. You can make one for a ladybug. What does make one for a ladybug? One dot, I mean. I'm not following. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and just kind of paint this out. And y'all can, at the end of when I'm done, you can go and support Emily's. Gosh, why can't I remember that? It's not a difficult name. Emily's Upcycle Home. All right, let me straighten this out here. And we're going to just bring this in. I'm not used to having to do things inside lines. I'm used to just kind of free-forming it and following the project. So some of this is like somebody else's idea that I'm trying to go along with. And when you're painting your own painting, or when you're doing something just in a free form, I think you have a whole lot more I don't know, you just have more freedom to go with the project as opposed to something that has lines already established for you to stay within. You know, and that's probably a good lesson in life right there. It's, you know, don't try and be what somebody else has established that you should be. You be who God created you to be, and then go from there. And that's when your best work is going to be. Okay, this is what we have so far. We've got this one here. I had contemplated whether I was going to add some flowers to this. I've got some silk flowers here that I had pulled out, so I'm not sure where the project's going to go. But anyway, I thank y'all for joining me. I'm Julie with Nothing is Wasted Designs, and I appreciate y'all being here. Thank you to Ollie and Karen for having me. Thanks, Jackie. Thank you very much. This has been fun. It's been a learning experience. I'm always learning. I'm always learning, and so sometimes my projects turn out better than others. Sometimes not so good, but that's okay, because we're all still learning, right? And I will, when I get this finished, I will post it on the group page in Hen House and Bloom Company. And there we go. And then I'm going to put a star in the middle of this. I'm not quite sure what goes there. I'm trying to figure out what somebody else's thinking is, and I don't do so well with that. So this is what we have. This is where we're going to go. If you will scoot on over to Emily's Upcycled Home and refresh your page. I hope y'all have a great night, and thanks for joining me. All right. Bye, y'all.